Blockbuster rejects Netflix. In 2000, Blockbuster was the king of movie rentals with over 9,000 stores. Every Friday night, families drove to Blockbuster to pick out movies. Then two guys from Netflix offered to sell their company to Blockbuster for $50 million. Netflix would run online rentals, Blockbuster would promote them in stores. Blockbuster CEO John Antioco laughed them out of the room. Why would anyone wait for movies in the mail when they could just drive to a store? At first, nothing changed. Blockbuster stores stayed packed, but people hated late fees. Netflix had no late fees. Slowly, customers switched, eventually causing Blockbuster to go bankrupt in September 2010. Today, Netflix is worth over $300 billion, and there's only one Blockbuster store left on Earth. Kodak buries the digital camera. In 1975, a Kodak engineer named Steve Sasson invented the world's first digital camera. He showed it to executives and they told him to hide it. Why? Because Kodak made billions selling film for cameras. If digital cameras took off, nobody would need film anymore. So Kodak buried the invention. For years, Kodak kept selling film. At first, money kept pouring in. But other companies like Sony, Canon, and Nikon started making digital cameras. By the 2000s, everyone wanted digital. Nobody wanted film. Kodak tried to catch up but was decades behind. In 2012, Kodak filed for bankruptcy. The company that invented digital photography missed the entire digital revolution because they were too afraid of change. Nokia chooses Windows Phone. In 2007, Nokia sold 40% of all mobile phones worldwide. Everyone had a Nokia. They were tough and reliable. Then the iPhone launched. Nokia CEO Stephen Elop had to decide: use Android like Samsung or partner with Microsoft's Windows Phone. In 2011, Elop chose Windows Phone, thinking Microsoft was safer. Big mistake. Android was free with thousands of apps. Windows Phone cost money and barely had any apps. At first, Nokia kept selling phones based on reputation, but people realized Nokia phones couldn't do what iPhones and Androids could. Within 3 years, Nokia went from 40% market share to almost zero. In 2013, Microsoft bought Nokia's phone division for $7.2 billion. By 2016, Microsoft gave up on Windows Phone completely. Yahoo refuses to buy Google. In 1998, two Stanford students named Larry Page and Sergey Brin built Google. They offered to sell it to Yahoo for $1 million. Yahoo said no. Fast forward to 2002. Google is growing fast and Yahoo tries to buy it for $3 billion. Google wanted $5 billion. Yahoo said that's too expensive and walked away. At first, Yahoo looked fine as one of the biggest websites on the internet. But Google's search was better, faster, and cleaner. Advertisers chose Google. Users followed. By 2008, Microsoft offered $44.6 billion for Yahoo. CEO Jerry Yang said no, thinking they were worth more. Yahoo never got another offer that high and was eventually sold in pieces. Today, Google is worth over $2 trillion. Yahoo could have owned it for $1 million. New Coke. In 1985, Coca-Cola had used the same recipe for 99 years, but Pepsi was gaining market share with a sweeter taste. CEO Roberto Goizueta panicked and changed Coke's formula. On April 23, 1985, Coca-Cola announced New Coke, a sweeter version meant to taste like Pepsi. The company had done taste tests and people liked it. What could go wrong? Everything. Americans lost their minds. People hoarded old Coke. The company received 400,000 angry calls and letters. At first, executives defended the decision. They had the data, but they misunderstood something. People didn't just like Coke's taste, they loved what it represented. Changing it felt like changing American culture. After just 79 days, Coca-Cola gave up. On July 11, 1985, they brought back the original formula. New Coke disappeared. The lesson? Some things are too important to change. Sears stops investing in stores. For over 100 years, Sears was America's biggest retailer. If you needed tools, clothes, appliances, or toys, you went to Sears. Then in 2005, Hedge fund manager Eddie Lampert bought Sears and became CEO. Lampert had a theory. Why waste money fixing up old stores when you could buy back stock and make shareholders rich? So that's exactly what he did. Sears stores started falling apart. Roofs leaked. Lights flickered. Shelves sat empty. Meanwhile, Lampert spent billions buying back stock. At first, shareholders were happy, but customers noticed stores looked terrible. Shopping at Sears felt depressing. Amazon and Walmart had better options. Target made shopping fun. By 2018, Sears filed for bankruptcy owing $11 billion. Lampert killed America's greatest retailer by refusing to invest in stores. AOL buys Time Warner. On January 10, 2000, AOL announced the biggest corporate merger in history, buying Time Warner for $164 billion. AOL had 30 million internet subscribers. Time Warner owned CNN, HBO, and Warner Brothers. Together, they dominate everything. Wall Street went crazy. This was the merger for the internet age. At first, it looked brilliant on paper, but almost immediately, everything went wrong. The two companies clashed. Then the dot-com bubble burst. AOL's internet business collapsed. Subscribers left as broadband replaced dial-up. The synergy everyone talked about never happened. By 2002, they lost $99 billion, the largest loss in corporate history. In 2009, they gave up and split apart. The merger of the century became the worst business deal ever made. JCPenney removes all sales. In 2011, JCPenney hired Apple executive Ron Johnson as CEO. Johnson looked at JCPenney's constant sales and thought it was ridiculous. In January 2012, he announced fair and square pricing. No more sales or coupons, just everyday low prices. He thought customers would love it. They hated it. People wanted to feel like they were getting a deal. Even if the price was the same, shoppers wanted 50% off tags. Without sales, nothing felt special. Johnson refused to back down. But in 1 year, JCPenney lost $4.3 billion. After only 17 months, Johnson was fired. JCPenney brought back sales, but many customers never came back. Netflix splits into two companies. In 2011, Netflix CEO Reed Hastings made a decision so bad he had to reverse it within months. Netflix had been mailing DVDs and streaming movies under one subscription for $10 a month. Hastings decided to split them into two separate companies. DVDs would be called Quickster. Streaming would stay Netflix. If you wanted both, you'd need two accounts for $16 a month in total. Customers were furious. Why make things more complicated? Social media exploded with complaints. People started canceling. In 3 months, Netflix lost 800,000 subscribers. Their first subscriber loss ever. The stock crashed. On October 10, 2011, Hastings killed the idea. Quickster was scrapped before it even launched. Luckily, customers came back. Enron's accounting fraud. Enron was one of America's biggest energy companies in the 1990s, but CEO Jeffrey Skilling had a problem. They weren't making as much money as everyone thought. So they cheated. Enron created fake companies to hide billions in debt. They made up profits. They lied on every report. Fortune magazine named them America's most innovative company 6 years in a row. Stocks soared. Executives became billionaires. In 2001, a reporter asked difficult questions. Then a whistleblower came forward. The lie unraveled in weeks. On December 2, 2001, Enron filed for bankruptcy. The company went from $70 billion to zero. Thousands of people lost everything. Skilling went to prison for 24 years. It wasn't just a bad decision. It was fraud on a massive scale and became the biggest business scandal in American history.